it's Nikki here and welcome to a Bookish Friday video, and this video should be going up on Friday at 5 p.m. This video is also dedicated to Claire Elizabeth. You know why? You cheeky little comment. Yeah, Claire Elizabeth cheekily commented that my video was a day late in a group chat recently. So yeah, this video is dedicated to you, Claire Elizabeth. Yes, you. Okay, so today's video is a bookish video, and I am doing something that I haven't done in quite a while. So all my bookish buddies, go and grab your pens and papers, because I have a book haul for you. And I know that some of you sit there with pen and paper and jot down some of the books that I discuss in my hauls and my TBR videos, because you respect my reviews and my I don't know, my choices, I think. Anyway, there are about 30 books here. Could be a few more, could be a few less. They're not all the books that I have bought since my last haul video. There's way more than that, because I have a control issue in that I don't have any. But I just thought 30 was enough. Plus there is some library books, because my local library is now open. It's not open, I have something in my eye. It's not open like completely. The shelves are off limits. I can't browse. I miss browsing. But I can order to click and collect kind of thing for my loans. So yeah, I managed to click and collect 3 library books that are on loan for the next couple of weeks. The first one of that is The Witcher, The Last Wish by Andrzej Sapkowski. This is the cover. Get that glare off for you. So this is from the Netflix series tie-in, and we follow Geralt of Rivia, who is a witcher. He's basically a warrior with some magical powers, I think, who fights demons and monsters, and he's pretty much hated in society. He's an outcast. Nobody really likes him, but they use his services to get rid of monsters that are terrorizing them, and he is somehow linked to these 2 ladies. So if you haven't watched the Netflix series, you really should. I really enjoyed it, and I believe season 2 is coming soon. So yeah, it's a real good fantasy epic story. There are more books. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books in the series, and I believe The Last Wish is a collection of short stories that's at the beginning of the story. So this isn't actually the start of the story. It's kind of like a prequel short story collection kind of thing. So I'll be reading this. The next book I got from my library, I hate the front cover of this, but it is again the film tie-in version, and that is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. So it looks like this. So I was able recently to watch the film Vampire Academy, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I wanted to read the books ever since I finished the Evernight series by Claudia Gray, where in that series there is a vampire school, and humans were invited to attend that school. And I believe this is along similar veins, where the school is for vampires to learn how to live in a human world. And we have the Moroi vampires, the Strigoi vampires, and then we have the Dampiers, who are the Moroi guardians. So yes, there's a whole thing. It's, you know, it's paranormal YA fantasy, and I am so looking forward to this. I really enjoyed the film, as I say, so yeah, I'm hoping to enjoy the books. And the last book that I got from my library is Percy Jackson and the Battle of the Labyrinth by Rick Riordan. I am reading the Percy Jackson series through my local library. I recently finished The Titan's Curse and thoroughly enjoyed it, so I wanted to move on to the next book. I really enjoy these. I have heard that the Percy Jackson story books have been taken up by Netflix, hopefully, I think. So hopefully Netflix will be bringing out a series of the Percy Jackson storyline very soon. So yes, fingers crossed for that, because apparently even Rick Riordan doesn't like the films that were brought out for the first two books, the Lightning Thief and the Sea of Monsters. Apparently Rick Riordan doesn't even like them. So hopefully Netflix will do a better job with them, but I am making my way through the series. Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. So those are the 3 library books that I have got. So let's move on to the actual books. But there's a lot of them. There's a lot. Okay, so let's start with a couple of classics that I bought, and they're all from the works. These are part of like a certain type, I don't know, the Arcturus editions prints, and I really love the covers of these, so I've been trying to collect some classics in these cover designs. The first one I've got is this tiny little one, The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. I don't know how to pronounce that. My French is atrocious. I barely remember anything, but this is such a tiny little book. I think it's about 100 pages, so it would be perfect for a readathon or something in the future, or a 24-hour readathon, something like that. And I believe it's about a pilot crash lands in the Sahara Desert, and he meets a little prince who has arrived on Earth from an entirely different planet. So this is like sci-fi. Listening to the prince's stories and his questions about the world, it becomes clear to the pilot truths about life can reveal themselves in the most unlikely of places. So yeah, I've never read The Little Prince before, but I have heard that it is loved by many. So, and there's quite a few of these pages where there's some illustrations, and I believe those are the original illustrations by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The next one, I already have a copy of this book, but it's not a pretty copy, so I got the pretty copy, which is The Railway Children by E. Nesbit, and just look at that. So this is a story about children who live right next to a railway line. Don't play on railway lines, people, it's dangerous. And every day they go and they wave at the train that passes by. This is in the time of steam engines, so they're not going that fast. Their father is mysteriously imprisoned, and the children have to leave their happy life in London, go live in this small cottage in the country. And one day they kind of save the day with this train. I've watched the film of this, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. One of those old classic films, and it's such a sweet and innocent kind of story. These children saving the lives of these people, and one of the passengers on the train is able to help them, so in more ways than one. So yes, beautiful story, and I have never read it, but I've watched the movie. So yes, I have this copy. So that's my second copy of The Railway Children. This next book is Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. And that is the cover. And so this is a story of Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert decide to adopt a boy. However, they end up with a red-haired little girl, and she gets into mischief, romance and friendship, apparently. I heard a lot of people love this story, so I'm quite excited for it. And the last one, again, I do have a copy of this, but it's an ugly one, so I got it to match all the others. It is Little Women, and this does include Good Wives as well, by Louisa May Alcott. So here is the cover, and as we know, this talks about the four sisters, I think it is, Meg, Jo, Beth and Amy, and we follow them from children to grown up and see their love, friendships, careers, that sort of thing, marriage. Yeah, I love the old classic film, not the one with Winona Ryder in, and I've not seen the recent film that was released last year, so I can't comment on that one, but I do like the old classic film of Little Women. Yeah, and I can't wait to read the book. I do have a couple more classics. They're of the same book because it's my favourite book. So I'll show you this one first. It's Dracula by Bram Stoker, and this is the Arcturus copy of this one as well. I don't know why. These are from the same publisher, but they're slightly different. I think for their gothic ones, they have this more kind of, I don't know, this kind of style. So yeah, this is Dracula. I love this story. This is my favourite classic. You all know what Dracula's about. A vampire who's barely in his own story, let's be honest. And he comes to England and causes havoc. So yeah. But the real star of the show, I found this copy of Dracula. Look at that. That is stunning. So this is one of the Penguin cloth-bound editions of Dracula by Bram Stoker. It's stunning. It's beautiful. I just want to bask in its glory. It's so beautiful. So yeah, I bought 2 copies of Dracula. They're not my only copies. I think I have 5 copies of Dracula now. It's my favourite. Okay, let's move on to some contemporaries. Yeah, some contemporaries. So, the first one I got is Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. No, this. I heard that this one was really good representation of mental health, and I thought that sounds pretty interesting. So in the real world, Eliza Merck is shy, weird and friendless, but online she's Lady Constellation, the anonymous creator of a wildly popular webcomic called Monstrous Sea. Then Wallace Warland, the Monstrous Sea's biggest fanfiction writer, transfers to her school and draws her into a life offline she never could have imagined. But obviously her secret is going to be revealed and, you know, things happen. I think this also has like mixed media in, and there's some sort of like artwork in there and stuff. So yes, it is a big book, and I'm guessing that things are going to get maybe a little dark because, as I say, it does deal with mental health. But yeah, a love letter to fandom, friendship and the stories that shape us, apparently. So there is that one. And then this one caught my eye just simply because of the cover. It's If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha, and it looks like this. This is a signed copy, so she has signed it. It's a very small signature, but there it is. And this is basically a story, a glittering, dark and unsettling debut novel about 4 young women struggling to survive in contemporary South Korea. Plunges into the mesmerising world of contemporary Seoul, a place where plastic surgery is as routine as getting a haircut, where women compete for spots in secret room salons to entertain wealthy businessmen after hours, where K-pop stars are the object of all-consuming obsession and ruthless social hierarchies dictate your every move. So I thought this would be good for like if I need a readathon for a diverse culture, or a culture that isn't my own, or a book set in another country or something like that, or a minority, or something, you know, to do with plastic surgery or whatever. So yeah, sounds really interesting, seeing these girls trying to change themselves in order to be able to work, and yeah, dealing with that sounds very interesting. So there is that. Then I have a couple of thrillers. Yeah. So the first one, I was after I finished Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, I was asking a friend who reads a lot more horror than I do if she had any other recommendations for me, and she mentioned this book, and that is Harrow Lake by Kat Ellis. So looks like this man is on strings, and basically this is about a young girl called Lola, whose famous father directed a film called Nightjar, the cult horror movie that was filmed at Harrow Lake. She knows about the caves beneath the fairground and all the details, but she doesn't know about the dark past the town hides or the secret it holds about her family. Now she finds herself in Harrow Lake and she searches for answers. Someone or something is stalking her every move. Sounds scary as hell, and I hope I can sleep at night after I've read it. So yeah, I really enjoyed the thrill I got from reading Into the Drowning Deep, and I'm hoping that this is going to give me some of that as well. I'm not very good with gruesome, so I hope this doesn't deal with gruesome. I hope this is more like a jump scare kind of thing. So yeah, kind of looking forward to reading this October, possibly, you know. Oh, and it's got yellow sprayed edges. I actually got that from Tesco's on a 2 for £7 deal. The next 2 books are by the same author, and that is Macbeth by Jo Nesbø, or Jo Nesbø. He is a Norwegian author, and he writes thrillers. And last year I read Snowman by Jo Nesbø with my book club, my over 50s book club, and in the first couple of pages there's a woman having sex, and my ladies were a little shocked at that. We're talking 80-year-old women reading about a woman having sex while her kid is sat in while the woman's kid is sat outside in the car. I got a bit of jip for that. Laughingly, they all loved it. They all thought it was a great book. So I thought it was a great book too. And so I've been looking to read more Jo Nesbø. And I found these on the 3 for £5 offer at the works. So I got Macbeth, who is a cop. A drug bust but turns into a bloodbath. It's up to him to clean up the mess. He's rewarded for his success, but a man like him won't get to the top. He's an ex-drug addict with a troubled past, and he's plagued by hallucinations and paranoia, and he's convinced he won't get what is rightfully his unless he kills for it. So, a morally grey character, I presume. So, yes, great. This is the first Harry Hole thriller, and I believe the Snowman was part of the Harry Hole series. So Harry is basically a detective, and he is sent to Australia after a Norwegian girl on a gap year in Sydney has been murdered. He's not supposed to get involved, but a string of unsolved murders and disappearances pull him into the investigation, and the killer will only talk to Harry and he might be the next victim. So sounds interesting, so cannot wait. The next set of books are middle grades, and this first book I bought because it has mermaids in it. It is the second book in a series, but the first book wasn't available on Amazon when I went to purchase them, but there was only a few copies left of the second book, so I grabbed it while I could, and once the first book comes back in stock, I will probably pick up the first book. So this is Rise of the Jumbies, and as you can see, like that, she's more like a sea serpent, but there are mermaids on the back, and it's a floppy. I love it when they flop like this. So this is basically Black Mermaids. I saw this book being read by a woman who did a video on Black Mermaid books, and I got quite a few recommendations from her. The first book is called The Jumbies, and I believe that the Jumbies are like a mythical creature that is in the folklore of these people, and yeah, and so I can't read this one or tell you about this one until I get the first book, so that's a little bit difficult. But yes, I can't wait to read this one because it's got Black Mermaids in. The next book I got because I rang up my local bookshop and I was asking them if they had any recommendations for middle grade sci-fi, because I just read The Orion Lost at this point and I thoroughly enjoyed that, and I was looking for more middle grade sci-fi, and they recommended this one. Now I'm not sure if this is sci-fi or not, but it is The Midlife by Kirsty Applebaum. It is by Nosy Crow, which were the same publishers as Orion Lost, but I'm not sure this is. Again, it's another fluffy paperback. I love the fluffy paperbacks. So this is an absorbing, quietly menacing story of forbidden friendship, loyalty and betrayal, beautifully told, apparently. Maggie is a middle child. I feel ya. Overlooked and unheard. And Maggie meets Una, a hungry wanderer girl in need of help, and everything she's ever known gets turned on its head. So it might be sci-fi, I don't know, but it was recommended to me after I was looking for more books like Orion Lost. So yes, could be interesting. Eldest, youngest and middler, worse luck. So yes, that one. The next one is a stunning book, and I hadn't heard anybody talking about it. It's called The Deepest Breath by Meg Green. I think I'm pronouncing that right. And it looks like this. Again, I thought sea might contain mermaids, but I don't think it does. This, however, is special because it's told in poetry. The whole story is a poem. So I've seen a few YA stories being told in poetry, but I haven't seen that in middle grade. And this story is about a young girl called Stevie, and she realises that there's a lot of stuff she doesn't know. She doesn't know about the fish in the sea, the constellations in the stars, and she doesn't know why she feels this way about Chloe. And I believe it's going to explore female-female romance in middle grade. So not only is this a middle grade book told in poetry, but it's also LGBTQ+ friendly. So yes, The Deepest Breath. I cannot wait to read this. I'm hoping that for the Believeathon 3 readathon coming in November, I think, I can fit this in because I really want to read this very, very soon. The next one I got when I got the Harrow Lake. So this was the second book that I got two for £7 at Tesco's. And that is The Good Thieves by Catherine Rundell. So it's like this. And this is basically about a couple of children whose grandfather is cheated out of everything he owns. So she sets off, or they set off, to put things right. And they have to put together a death-defying plan, one that will take them all on a wild adventure across New York City. So, yes, very excited for this one. The next one is absolutely stunning. It's got sprayed edges. Look at that. So gorgeous. This is Dragon Mountain by Katie and Kevin Sang. So it looks like this. It is also a signed copy. So we have a signed bookplate in there. And I got this at Waterstones. So yes, this is a story about 12-year-old Billy Chan, whose parents send him to a summer camp on the mountains, in the mountains of China. He'd much rather be spending the holidays back at home. That is until he and his fellow campmates stumble upon the entrance to a secret mountain and find 4 real-life warrior dragons trapped inside. And they've been waiting for him. Oh, so excited. So yeah, dragons, you've got me. You've got me. This blue dragon is gorgeous. Stunning. So yeah, got that one. And then the last book I bought, because it is the group book for a readathon that I'm taking part in October, so I had to pick it up. And I've been interested in this book anyway. I particularly chose the team I'm going to be on so that I could read this book. That is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. So the cover looks like this. There is a tiny little dragon on there, look. Oh, it's so cute. So this is the story of a town where every year they leave a child sacrifice in the forest for the local witch. However, the local witch is not a nasty witch at all, and she has no idea why they keep doing this to her. So what does she do? She feeds them starlight, and she takes them over the mountain and gives them to a family on the other side. But one year she feeds the child moonlight by accident, and we all know moonlight is magical, so she can't hand over a now magical baby, so she ends up raising this child on her own. And as a child's 13th birthday approaches, her magic begins to emerge with dangerous and thrilling consequences. So yes, very excited to read this book. It's had a lot of great reviews from a lot of YouTubers. So yes. The next 3 books, you'll understand why I bought them. It's called Mermaid Boys, and it's a manga. This is the cover. So it is a manga. And I have number 1 and number 2. She's a little bit busty. And number 3. I believe that these 3 are the only ones published as of yet. But there are supposed to be more coming soon. These are written by Yomi Sirachi, I think. So yeah. So basically this is kind of a Little Mermaid retelling in reverse. So it's actually a mermaid boy that has fallen in love with a human girl and decides to trade in, instead of his voice, because he needs his voice to chat her up, he trades in his good looks, and then goes on land to try and attract this young girl. Will he manage to hit it off with the girl of his dreams? And then obviously the story continues. So yeah, a graphic novel, well, manga, with mermaids in it. Need I say more? Okay, so the next few books are a couple of hardbacks that I've bought. So the first one is Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. This is a new release, has literally just come out this week that I'm filming. This is a Waterstones exclusive edition, so it contains an extra chapter. It has gorgeous end papers and then also gorgeous foiling on the hardback. So this is a story about Piranesi, who lives in the house. That's all it's called, the house. And he lives there alone. He keeps notebooks where he makes clear and careful records of its wonders. Thousands of statues, tides that thunder up the staircases, clouds that move in the slow procession through the upper halls. On Tuesdays and Fridays, he sees his friend, the other. And at other times he brings tributes of food and water lilies to the dead, but mostly he's alone. But messages begin to appear, and there's someone new in the house, and they don't know, and he doesn't know if they are friend or foe. So yes, I'm very excited to read this one. It sounds very magical and whimsical, kind of Starless Sea, Night Circus-esque kind of story, and I am up for it. So yes, very excited for this one. The next one I bought because I thought it might have mermaids in, but then the bookseller at the Waterstone store where I went said no, it doesn't, but it is based at the sea, so, well, on the coastline, and she pretty much told me it was her favourite book of the year. And I didn't feel like she was lying to me and trying to get a sale. She was actually genuine about it. And that is Monstrous Heart by Claire McKenna. So this is a story about a girl called Arden who is tasked with using the magic in her blood to keep the lighthouse burning and needs to prove herself worthy of her family name and profession. The sea is teeming with colossal ancient beasts, and her neighbour is called Jonah Riven, and he is a hunter of leviathans. They say he murdered his wife and he's a monster, and Arden cannot get him out of her head. So sensational fantasy debut, gothic tale of intrigue on high seas and a love story for the ages. So yeah, the bookseller said it was a really creepy, dark sort of story that has a beautiful love story at its core. So if you're into romance, maybe this might not be for you, but I love me a good romance. So yeah, I really like the feel that I get of this. Look at that front cover. We've got the rib cage and then a shell and then all of these tentacles. It's just stunning. It's beautiful. The next one, oh, it's not a hardback, sorry. This is The Familiars by Stacey Halls. So it looks like that. This one is like a historical fiction. So we're in Lancashire in 1612, and Fleetwood Shuttleworth is 17 years old, married and pregnant for the 4th time. She's mistress at Gawthorpe Hall, but still has no living children. So she's had 4 pregnancies, but none have survived. Her husband Richard is anxious for an heir. Then she crosses paths with Alice Gray, who's a young midwife who promises to help her give birth to a healthy baby. Witchcraft accusations, the Pendle witch trials approaching, and time is running out and both their lives at stakes. Sounds awesome. The next book I pre-ordered, and this is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I've never read a book by Matt Haig before. This says one library, infinite lives. This is a signed copy with bonus material, which was exclusive to Waterstones. So let's have a look. So yeah, it is signed there. I really like this front page here. It looks like a library card, so I thought that was awesome. I don't think there's anything on the front cover, no. So this is about Nora Seed, who finds herself in the Midnight Library and has a chance to make things right. Up until now, her life has been full of misery and regret. She feels like she's let everyone down, but things are about to change. The books in the Midnight Library enable Nora to live as if she had done things differently. So with the help of an old friend, she can now undo every one of her regrets as she tries to work out her perfect life. Things aren't always what she imagined they'd to be, and soon her choices place the library and herself in extreme danger. So, yes. Must answer the ultimate question, what is the best way to live? So, can we go back and change, or should we go back and change our biggest regrets? Or do they shape us into who we are? Do you know what I mean? So, very interesting, big question, and I thought that would be interesting to read. So, yes. And the next book I bought, because it's got mermaids in it, need I say more? Were you surprised? All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I've hunted high and low for this book in hardback because I love this cover. And this stuff is like gold dust. And only after I finally managed to get hold of it on Amazon, did my local bookshop finally call me and say, hey, you know that book you wanted? We've got it in stock now. And I'm like, but I've already bought it. And I didn't want to tell them that I managed to get it on Amazon because booksellers don't like Amazon. But at the time I saw it and I knew I had to grab it before it went. So, and at the time I didn't know that my local bookseller was going to get it in stock. So we have a princess, a pirate, a stowaway, a mermaid. The crew makes the queen. So yeah, we have a princess trying to take her place on the throne, and I guess she has to fight for it with the help of a pirate and a stowaway and a mermaid, I should imagine. So very excited to read this, and I think the sequel to this comes out next year. So yes, very happy to have this. I hope this doesn't turn out to be a bit like The Surface Breaks, where I hunted high and low for the hardback cover because it was prettier than the paperback, and then the story ends up being atrocious. And I end up regretting paying the extra for the hardback copy. Fingers crossed that doesn't happen. Okay, the next 4 books were bought by my husband. So I didn't buy these, he did. Blame him. He did it. I didn't do it. He did it. So the first 3 books are all part of a trilogy, and who doesn't love gorgeous artwork? Like, wow. So this is Inkheart by Cornelia Funk, and I also have Ink Spell, and he also got me Ink Death. So he bought me the whole trilogy. Looks like that, and it's so pretty, and it's so big, and it's so heavy. Inkheart is over 500 pages, Ink Spell is over 600 pages, and Ink Death is 1 page short of 700. These are supposed to be middle grades. They're huge, they're stunning, and I cannot wait to read them. I'm so excited. I'd actually ordered from my local library the first book, Inkheart, and it came in the same day that this box arrived, and my husband admitted that he'd bought me a couple of books from my wish list. So that was good. So I've got my own copy now, so I gave the library copy back to the library. So yay! I'm so excited. They're so pretty. So they can go there. And then the 4th book that my husband bought me was this collector's edition of Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. Look at that. Can you see? And then on the back we have stag, and the quote says, "Meet the assassin." So yeah, so this is the special collector's edition. I know that there are some collector's editions that come in like a box that you pull out, but this one is stunning. I have read Throne of Glass already. I've read the whole series and absolutely loved it. I have the whole series in paperback, and I just this is just going to go on my shelf and just look pretty. Like that is just perfect. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. And thank you very much to my sweet darling husband buying me 4 books, and all beautiful, like stunningly beautiful. Okay, and we are on to the final books, and they are a box set. And I don't know if I've shown you these before. I don't know. But I am so proud of this box set. I have been hunting for a set of these books ever since I got back into reading at the beginning of 2019. I knew I wanted hardbacks because I knew I would be rereading these books over and over and over again for the rest of my life, because I love these stories. And I knew I wanted really beautiful editions because it was worth it. And this box set became available on Amazon again. They were available elsewhere, but they were more expensive. I got a great deal on mine, and sadly at the time that these became available, my my male cat Ringo passed away. It still breaks my heart. I will not cry, I have makeup on. And I really needed cheering up, and this box set did that for me. So this box set means so much more to me, because it was kind of like something to cheer me up after my cat passed away. It was very, very sudden. We had no warning at all. It was kind of like, oh, take him to the vets, oh, he's gone. And it was a shock. So the books I'm talking about, they're very heavy. The box set of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. These are stunning. The artwork in them is very similar to this. And I believe that the illustrations are by Alan Lee, who was the conceptual artist for the films. So no wonder they're absolutely stunning. I don't want to show you them all, because if you were wanting to purchase these, I think part of the enjoyment of getting them is going through the books and seeing the illustrations for yourself in person. So I will just show you one of them. I'll show you The Hobbit. So this is The Hobbit, and the back has the dragon on it. Wow. And then the end papers is the map, and then underneath is green. So The Hobbit has a very special place in my heart, because when my daughter Rowena was only 2 years old, she was wanting a bedtime story one night, and I had literally just started reading The Hobbit and I didn't want to put it down, so I started reading it to her. And so technically Rowena read The Hobbit when she was 2 years old, or listened to me read out The Hobbit to her when she was 2 years old. So yeah, this one has a special place in my heart because of that memory. The rest of the trilogy is just a fun story, and I love it, and it was the start of my love of fantasy. So yeah, and as I say, The whole box set was bought just after my beautiful boy passed away, so yeah, this box set now means the world to me, and I can't wait to start reading it. Those are all the books that I have bought recently over the last few months. I hope you've got some good recommendations here. If there are any that are particularly interesting to you, let me know in the comment section down below, and yeah, we can talk about them a bit more. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!